Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Alright, we are back with another BTS video. This time I'm going through a shoot that I did back in October up in Napa, shooting a podcast interview series for The Information, and I created a little behind the scenes video that shows the setup that I used, the lighting, the camera, the audio, all that stuff. But today I think I'm gonna do the video a little different. I'm actually going to roast my setup.
Oh, roasted.
There are some things that I did well, some things that I think I can improve on. So kind of looking back at the game tapes, looking at what I did, what decisions I made, and seeing what was good, seeing what could use improvement for next time, and how we can improve moving forward. Let's get into the tapes. First things first, we gotta set up the tripod. I think that's a good move. Get the camera set up so we can see our angle, see what we're working with. I think that was a good move first. You know, because your eyes see one thing, the camera sees another thing. So always coming back to the camera as your point of reference. And there is the producer, Sydney. Sydney was kind of my partner in crime all day. She was producing the episodes that we were making, so she was really, she helped with the scheduling, she helped with the set design, she helped finding people, she helped make sure that the talent, you know, is saying what they need to, making sure the visuals look good. She was really, really awesome to work with. She was new to The Information, but she had been producing, you know, videos and podcasts like this for a while now, so she was just super on it and incredible to work with. Alright, so next step, we are setting up the chairs. This is where, you know, the talent will sit. 2 chairs, 2 people on screen at one time. We were filming, I think, 4 different episodes, 4 different interviews, but this was one of the sets we utilized. One thing I would have done differently though is, like, we had pretty much this whole room to work with. I think what I would have done is I would have moved the chairs up further, closer to the camera, further away from their backdrop, just to give a little extra depth. As you can see, they're pretty close to the background there, so I think I would have spaced it out a little more and made a little bit more of a aesthetically pleasing look to the backdrop. And then we're setting up these little banners that they had for the summit that they were hosting. So just helping Sydney kind of set those up. Those were going to be put in frame a little bit so we could, you know, get some branding in there, make it feel like it's TITV and The Information.
So like that kind of, and then do the same thing here. That might be fine because we're not going to see that high.
Next up, gonna start setting the lights up. We got our main camera angle. We got the bare bones of the set going. Next up, make sure that lighting looks good.
So where are you based at?
So I'm in New York. Oh, yeah. So I did grow up here, but
And then of course just chatting up with Sydney a little bit, getting to know her.
so this was like a nice little.
Since we'll be working together, you know, today and tomorrow, it was a 2-day summit, you know. Might as well be on a friendly basis. Next, light stand going up. This is another thing that I would work on for next time. This is a backdrop stand. It's not a real light stand. I mean, I think it functioned pretty well as a light stand this time, but I'd probably get another C stand. That kind of looks a little janky. These lights I rented from a friend. They were Amaran 300Ds, I think. Another thing I'd do differently is we were kind of at the top limits of how much the those lights could put out, the power they could put out. So I think I'd go with the 600Ds next time, rent some different lights. That's something I'm learning slowly but surely. The more I do these like podcast interview setups, is 300 is enough for inside, but a lot of times having that extra power is nice, especially if you're up against a window. The 300s can't quite compete with the outdoor light, so I think bumping it up from the 300s to the 600s would probably be something I'd do next time.
I feel like there's a certain person that just like has that kind of skill to figure out how things work, and I just like can't.
Yeah, I feel like it's mostly with like filmmaking, it's all well, I was just gonna try to set it on
Right. Yeah.
And then, well, we can keep it.
I don't mind problem solving in terms of what I'm just like not equipment. I'm bad with equipment and like that, anything like that. That's what I'm bad at. But it's even funny that you can like use rental equipment that you've never worked with before, and you're confident that like you're gonna figure it out. Like I would not be. I would be like, I'm never gonna know how to do this.
Cindy brings up a really good point there. I rented this equipment and I did not test it beforehand. I'd worked with those lights ever so slightly before, but I didn't test them out before the shoot. I didn't test out the softbox before the shoot. That's a big red flag. That's a big thing I'd do differently next time. That's a big noob mistake. Definitely want to test out your equipment before you're using it on set in front of clients, because that's just like not a good look when you can't figure out what you're doing. So big mistake I'd definitely change for next time. Test the equipment out before the shoot day. Make sure you know what you're doing before the shoot day. So we're setting up our softbox. First softbox, that is. This one I rented from my friend, and this is the type of softbox I'd get from here on out because it was so easy to set up. Just kind of pops into place. But again, I hadn't used it, I hadn't set it up, so here I am fumbling around as I'm talking to Sydney, looking like a dingus.
If you don't use it, right, it's gone. Like I learned about lighting at some point. I learned about like the basics of the camera, and now if you ask me to do something about it, like if you're never gonna use it, like this stuff. I'm just gonna refill my water over that. Okay.
And flag on the play there, as you can see, my light stand etiquette is horrible. The heavy part of the light where the softbox is not over any leg. No leg is protecting that. I do end up fixing this later in the shoot, but as of right now, flag on the play, bad form. It should be, you know, the big leg or the middle height leg that's right in front of the light there, carrying the weight of the softbox so the light doesn't tilt over. Right, then we got a little diffusion we're gonna add to the light. And I'm just going with one layer of diffusion on the outside there. Yeah, can always add more. But this does kind of, it spreads the light out a little bit better in a more pleasing way, so it's not just a harsh spotlight on our talent. Another good thing I did was I brought extension cords. As you can see, we're kind of in the middle of the room there, so there's no outlets like on the floor, no outlets that are really close. So that's a lesson I've learned over the years. Always come with extension cords if you're setting up lighting, because you don't know how close to an outlet you're going to be or not. So that was a really good move. Good job, Kelsey. Props. All right, lights going on. First test of the light there. Looking good. and then we'll go check it on the camera. Again, always going back to what the camera sees, not just what my eye sees. It's a good move. Props there. And then we'll do second light. We'll get that second light set up. Okay, second light going up. And my lighting technique for this shoot and most of my shoots, to keep it kind of easy, is just like flood the talent, essentially. I definitely think that's something that I can learn how to get better at, is actually utilizing 3-point lighting, using different lighting modifiers, and utilizing backlight, you know, having a key light fill and a backlight to really give the talent dimension, as opposed to just, right now I'm just lighting them so they look good, so they look properly lit in camera. They don't look like they're sitting in a dark room. They look like they're sitting in a naturally well lit room. I think I could start investing more time learning and crafting light in a way that makes people look even better than that, not just well lit, but they look really good. More dimensional lighting. And here's where we pull out the other softbox that I rented and did not test before the shoot day. This one is going to prove to be a struggle. And I've used this type of softbox before. I used to do a lot of assisting on headshots, so I've set up softboxes like this before, but they're actually impossible. Like, they're the worst designed piece of like film equipment. They're impossible to set up. It's nice because they break down really small, easy to pack, but I mean, so was that other softbox, and it was not nearly as hard. So yeah, I'm just gonna fumble around with this for a long time. And number one, should have done better research on the softboxes. I should have gotten a matching softbox to the one that I just set up. Number two, I should have tested it out before the shoot day, made sure I knew what I was doing, or figured out that I didn't know what I was doing, look up stuff on YouTube, figure it out, or get a new softbox. Didn't do that. So here I am just fumbling around on the shoot day, wasting time. Flag on the play. Bad form. I've officially been defeated by the softbox, so I'm starting to take it apart. And it's even hard to take apart. I only got it halfway set up. It is good to know when to quit. You know, when to push forward with something that's not working. And like right here, I'm saying screw it. I'm going with the backup softbox I brought, which is mine, which I know how to set up, which is way easier. So one thing I did good, I brought a backup. One thing I should have done better is these two softboxes you can see don't match. One is like hexagonal, the other one's square, so they're gonna diffuse light differently. That's something I also should have done better. Again, this is my backup softbox, so good thing I brought a backup, otherwise I would have been screwed. But not an optimal backup. But we're making it work. Like Sydney said, we are problem solving in real time with equipment. Another flag on the play up there. You can see the upper corner of the softbox is misaligned. That looks shoddy.
I feel like maybe back here. And there's like a
Sydney was helping out with the set design. Again, it was really, really nice working with her. She has a great eye and she cares about details.
Yeah.
So it's nice to kind of add some greenery, add some background stuff, so you're not just two chairs, a table, and a fireplace and these posters. It kind of makes things look a little nicer. And we're gonna plug in our second light here. And yeah, that looks ratchet. Flag on the play.
There was one more, or do you think this symmetry is okay?
And working with Sydney too, she's asking questions, so I'm just giving my opinion, what I think looks good because that's why they've hired me, is because they trust that I know what looks good on camera specifically. Another thing well done here, I brought a power strip. Again, adds a little bit of extension and then allows me to plug in multiple things. And because we're using lower power lights, everything works okay with, you know, just the house electricity, the power strips, the extension cords, the outlets. We don't have to worry about setting anything on fire. So that was good. Good work, Kelsey. We don't need like film lights that need like their own specific outlets and power supplies and stuff. That would overcomplicate things. We just need it to be simple and easy to do because I'm solo here. So easy for me to do as one person. Simple and effective. So we're going back to the camera, making sure everything looks good. Yeah, and the two different looking softboxes, the two different stands. Looking ratchet, girl. Next up, we're going to set up our external monitor for our camera, and that's a pro move. Gives you a little bit bigger of a screen so you're not looking at just your little camera monitor. Just helps you see more things, more details.
I kind of like that better.
Pro move.
Yeah. And I feel like if we had like a succulent or something, you know, for like the
Oh, now you want to have, I don't know. Let me see what they have.
I'm dreaming big now.
No, I think that's, I actually think it looks so much nicer.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, moving the 360 camera over so it's not in my shot anymore, so I can kind of actually see how things are going to look. And here's kind of our first look at what our setup looks like. Already, it looks pretty good. We got the two chairs, we got the tables, we got some greenery behind, and we've got our two posters. So now I'm kind of just finessing the setup. Finding the proper look, making sure everything's symmetrical, and I'm utilizing that external monitor to see the details and see things better than on your tiny little camera monitor. So there I'm kind of making sure I'm finding the center line so I can make sure everything's symmetrical. I think that's a pro move. Paying attention to the details, to symmetry. You know, when we look at things on small monitors, those details might not be visible, but on a computer screen, even, you know, on TVs, people watch things on TVs now. When things get blown up, those little details become super obvious, and if you don't get it right, it makes you look like a noob. So pro move here. Good job, Kelsey. You know, paying attention to the details, getting everything precise and symmetrical, making sure the frame feels balanced, and just honing in on those details. I think that's a pro move. And then another pro move, usually I try and show up to like gigs like this 2 hours early for setup. I showed up to this one 4 hours early at the request of Eric, who brought me onto this shoot. The information is his client. He brought me on. He was doing the recap videos, so he was out and about filming. He brought me in to help film these interviews on site. So he requested I show up at 12 so I could kind of connect with him. And then I said, great, the more time to set up, the better. Pro move. Don't just show up and expect to be able to set up in 2 minutes.
Okay, so a florist is coming soon, so they can get us something little for the table.
Nice.
But this will finish off the back.
Perfect.
So still finessing that setup, trying to find the balance, trying to make sure everything feels symmetrical. Details matter to people. Even if your client doesn't notice when they're looking at your monitor, they're going to notice in the edit when they're looking at it on their computer.
This is nice though. This is a nice setup.
So yes, Sydney's happy with the setup, which is great to hear.
I also think
It's a collaboration between the two of us.
I guess it's a little high. No, never mind. I was gonna say flowers up there, but actually just the tip of that is in.
And see
So
that
it's fine.
that external monitor is also helpful for
Oh, it's a
her.
nice setup. I mean, so honestly, there are taller plants.
So we're still finessing the art direction, you know? How do we want
Like,
the
I don't
plants? Do we want
know.
big plants? Do we want
Might be
small
nice, yeah,
plants?
Unless we have like a
Where do we
little,
want them positioned in there?
Let me.
sort of like bench or something.
And it's helpful to have, you know,
remember.
two
I'm gonna
eyes
go
or
over there
multiple
and
eyes on the set to
picture
kind of
of
give
it.
opinions and stuff.
So we're looking good.
I think so, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, do you mind sitting in
Yeah,
one of the chairs
of
too, so I
course.
can make sure all the lighting looks good and everything?
Right, pro move here, getting someone to actually sit in your set before talent arrives to dial in the lighting even more. Either having an assistant or like I have Sydney, who's my contact, who's the producer, just sit there. She can work. She doesn't have to pay attention to me. She doesn't have to do anything. I just want to make sure the lighting looks good. So when talent shows up, it's a simple, easy, seamless way to get them in and out quickly, because we're interviewing, you know, CEOs of companies, C-suite executives. They don't have a lot of time. They're also at this summit. They're at this event. They want to get back. They want to watch things. So getting them in and out quickly, not having to adjust a lot of stuff when they get there, makes you look like a professional. So pro move there, Kelsey. Good job. And originally I was going for kind of like cross lighting, you know, having the light on the right hit the guest on the left, having the light on the left hit the guest on the right. But here's where I'm starting to have the issue with the 300 lights. I'm trying to push in as close as possible because I'm not getting enough light on the guest. So I'm trying to see how close can I get those lights without getting them in frame. And I think if I had lights with just a little bit more power, we could have a little bit more flexibility with how close and how far. If you were in a smaller room and you didn't have a lot of room to back up your lights, those smaller lights, the 300 lights, probably would be a little better. So yeah, I'm switching it up now. Instead of doing the cross lighting because it's a little too far from the guest, we need a little more extra power. I'm actually flipping it so the light on the left hits the guest on the left, the light on the right will hit the guest on the right. This is good problem solving on the fly. Making it work. And ideally for cinematic lighting, you're gonna want to have the dark side of the guest's face towards the camera. So I'm kind of doing the opposite of that by having the light like blast right at them. Again, that's something I would do differently next time. Alright, so I'm also going to have Sydney sit in the other chair so I can make sure the lighting on both guests looks right. Pro move. And I'd rather have optimal lighting, enough lighting on the guest than that cinematic lighting I was talking about earlier. Again, paying attention to details back there, you could see the little fire pokers in the frame, so just making sure those are out of the way.
Like, yeah, like how can you really tell? It's just... And then so the only time, so here's what I think is gonna happen. I told you this.
So
on
Sydney's
text,
giving
but
me the
I'll tell you in
breakdown
person. So,
of
I confirmed up 4
the guests coming, what time they're coming, timeline we're looking at. We had to be pretty flexible because, again, these guests, they're coming in from out of town, they're attending this summit. We don't want to pull them away too much from the experience of the summit. So we want to make sure we kind of accommodate their schedules. But also, you know, I was contracted for 8 or 10 hours or something, so Sydney wants to be conscious of not going over, you know, and not having to get charged more. So, pro move, just making it work. Just being flexible. We'll be ready here when the guests show up. We just have to hit record and start recording. So we're happy with the setup right now. We're going to break for lunch. Another pro move, break for lunch. Make sure you have enough time to break for lunch. Because we showed up so early and when we start setting up early, we're happy with how everything looks right now. We can shut it down, go to lunch.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So now I'm actually going to set up a second camera. Originally when we planned this was a really tight turnaround. They want to post this video the next day, literally the next morning. So so the original idea was just one camera, just a 2-shot, both guests in frame. For backup, and also just for options in the edit, or if they decide to use these videos in a different way down the line, I'm also going to capture a close-up on the guest, not the host of the podcast, the guest. Just to have some alternative angles, also to have a backup if anything goes wrong. Pro move, always have a backup, if not 2 backups. As I mentioned, Eric is the main videographer on this shoot. He's the one who brought me on. I'm working under him. He just wanted to make sure that he was happy with the setup, that I was, you know, I'm working under his company, so I'm a representation of him and his work. So I made sure to take a picture of the setup, send it to him, make sure he's happy with it, and he was. There was no issues. So we're setting up our second camera. And another pro move here. Always bring a chair to sit on. If you're a camera operator, much easier to sit, be comfortable, and then it's easier to pay attention. Your mind's not elsewhere. Your mind's not on, oh, my back hurts, oh, my feet hurt, oh, my legs hurt. Get comfortable so you can focus. And then last but not least, we're going to set up our audio. We've got 2 lav mics for our hosts and our guests. And I'm going to clip the lav on my shirt to test it out, just so it feels, you know, realistic to how I'm probably going to mic up the talent. And I'm testing the lavs to make sure they sound good and to get a general level. When I put the lavs on the guests, I will also test them again because, you know, I might talk quieter or louder than they talk. So you want to make sure the levels are correct for each guest. And then we'll set those out on the set just so they're easy and accessible when our guests get here. And we'll make sure to test both mics. Don't want to leave anything to chance. Pro move.
Testing. 1, 2, 3, testing.
And we'll set that out for our guest. So despite our setbacks, our mistakes, our things that we had to kind of work with in the moment, I think this set looks pretty professional. It's minimal. It doesn't look like it's a crazy big production, but I think it still looks good. You know, we've got the lighting looks nice and even. The set looks good. The set looks intriguing. It's not bare bones with nothing in there.
Is it not really like anchor on the left, usually guest on the right?
Another flag on the play. I probably should have taped down those wires. just for extra safety hazard. You can see Sydney step over it. She kind of knows and is conscious of that, but for extra safety, you would probably want to tape those down so nobody trips over them.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm happy with the setup. You know, some things didn't go to plan, but we made it work. So I'm just going to shut everything down, save the batteries while we wait it out. I think we probably had, 30 minutes to an hour before our host showed up. And then, maybe another 30 minutes after that before the first guest showed up. But yeah, that's our setup. I think it's pretty good. There's some things I would change, but overall, I think I did a pretty good job. So yeah, recap, probably would have placed the chairs and the set further from the background just to give a little depth, make it a little more, kind of blurry and make that look cinematic in the background. My light stand form was bad. Number one, I had two mismatched light stands, which is fine. They both worked. They were both sturdy enough, but I think it looked a little janky. And then I didn't have the big leg. I did end up changing it, but I didn't have the big leg facing forward to catch the weight of the softbox, which means that light could have gone over, and it could have gone over on someone, or it could have broken the light. So bad light stand form. I also didn't use sandbags. Bad light stand form. Flag on the play. I didn't test the light box. The light boxes before the shoot day. That's a rookie mistake. That's just leaving shit up to chance when you get there, and you might not know how things work. You might be missing something. Bad form. Also, the different shaped light boxes might cast light differently. I didn't really notice a difference in the image, but there is potential for that. Flag on the play. I also should have shot both angles in 1080. I shot my main angle in 4K just to give the editor potential to punch in if he wanted to go in on a certain guest, since the main angle was going to be our only angle. It made for really clunky editing because I had to turn it around that night, so that's something I would have done differently. Probably just shot in 1080. The 300D lights worked inside, but I probably should have gotten 600D lights for more power and more potential to move them around and do different things with them. I also should have implemented a little bit more of 3-point lighting as opposed to just 2 hot lights right on the guest, given each guest a key, a fill, or a negative fill to give that kind of darker, make one side of their face darker towards the camera, and then a backlight to help them stand out against the background. So I would have gone for more cinematic lighting in the future if I were to do things differently. I'm learning as I go. I'm a solo operator most of the time, so I'm doing pretty much everything by myself. I think for someone who did everything on their own, that worked. That sufficed. It looked professional. The product turned out good. It made the client happy. There was a good client experience. All of the above. All of the guests who came on, they were happy. They were great. It was great working with everyone, and they said the same thing about me. But yeah, I think just some things that I'd work on for the future, just to bump my production up ever so slightly. Just getting better and better and better each time I shoot. I think that's why it's good to kind of like look back at your tapes, look back at what you did, and to have this behind the scenes filmed, because you can really break it down and be like, oh, I did mess up the light stand there. Oh, I did mess this up. Oh, I did mess that up. So this is really, really helpful just to kind of grow and to learn. So yeah, thanks for watching. Tune into the next one.